All right, we should be live. I need to make sure that's actually the case. And I think we are. Oh boy. All right, so I am here with DM Blackwall. I actually met him off Twitter. I hadn't heard of Horde Wars until I actually saw him on Ryan Howard's show, I believe. I think that's the first place I saw you. No, it wasn't Ryan Howard. It was Black Lodge Games. But
oh, yeah.
It is good to be here with DM Blackwall. Just so you guys know, this week I have DM Blackwall. Next week, I don't really have anyone. I'm not really sure what we'll do. I'll probably do like some sort of Q&A or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a last minute guest. Not sure yet. We'll figure it out. And I will be next month at DaveCon in Minneapolis. I hope to see as many of you as possible there. If you see me there, please say hi. I am actually kind of shy in person, and I also have no idea what anyone looks like, so I'm not going to be approaching anyone. Anyway, I am coming like straight here from a Lord of the Rings watch party. I just finished Return of the King. It's not my first time seeing it. Of course, I've read the books, I've watched all the movies, but I was showing it to a few friends who were in my D&D group who it came up they'd never seen it before. So I have Lord of the Rings on the mind. It's fresh in my brain right now. So if I end up quoting and or pulling examples exclusively from Lord of the Rings, just please understand that I am the type of person whose favorite piece of media is the last thing I have seen or read. So please understand. Anyway, DM Blackwall, tell us, who are you? What do you do?
Oh, it's good to be here. So my name's Todd. I write role-playing games on the side, and I also consult on some other ones. My friend Greg, he's Greg Lambert. He's got Titans of Fallen Earth that's in the process of fulfillment, I believe. I got to consult on his game, and I've consulted on some others, but I'm probably most known online for writing Horde Wars Basic and Horde Wars Advanced, which are D12 role-playing game systems. One's kind of our starter set meant for the first few levels of play, and one's the complete game.
And I actually, okay, so my first question about that, and I've read some of your game. I haven't read all of your game, to be perfectly honest. Let's be transparent to the audience. Like, I didn't read it all. But why the D12?
Well, two reasons. One, we felt it was underutilized in role-playing games in general. So my co-author and I were like, let's write a game that uses D12s. but also, it let us make a game that plays faster and is more exciting in a couple specific ways. One of which is we kept the idea of critical hits being a max roll on the die. But because a D12 is a smaller die, you got about twice the odds of critting. The second thing is, you know how in a lot of games, if you get like level drained or cursed or this sort of thing, that you'll have some kind of penalty applied to your character? So we have the same thing, but because we start with a D12, we embed the penalty in the dice. So you're rolling just a D10 or a D8 or a D6 instead, based on how badly you were affected. The same is true for if your character is dehydrated or starving to death or this kind of thing. We call that rule affliction. But it plays faster, even though the penalty is much the same.
All right. So you're saying if you are afflicted by something, you would roll a smaller dice. And you can't really do that with the D20 because it's just too much of a penalty to apply. But you can do it with the D12 because going from a D12 to a D10 is a reasonable affliction penalty.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Is a 10 still crit then?
No.
No. Okay.
So if you're weakened, no critting.
Ooh, I like it. That's interesting reasoning for using the D12 because I wasn't quite sure what the reasoning was, but I like that. It makes sense. Anyway, we have a lot of people that I like in the chat. We have Jonathan Frost. We have Shellback. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. Snortapoopus. I've never said your name out loud, and I regret doing so. We have Ultra American TTRPGer. Hey guys, it's great to see you all. People are still filing in. So now with Horde Wars, you have done something like I think extraordinary. So in the D&D, the AD&D like PHB, right? There is like a section under the game that describes games that are run with lots of players who, and you're doing something different every week, and you have domain play, and you have all sorts of stuff stitched together in AD&D, right? But there aren't really games like that anymore. Not many of them. I mean, sure, you can point to some small examples, but you have done something very interesting here, which is you have a game currently going on. You have a living campaign world that has how many players in it?
So in total participation, something like 100. In active participation, I would say about 30, 35 are actively involved with often multiple characters. Most of them have 2 or more characters that they're playing in that campaign world.
How many active characters are currently in your campaign world? Do you have a number? Do you know?
Let me think. Probably about, for just the 35 people, probably about 500.
Okay, you have to have like whales in there. Like one guy has like 55 characters,
two
right?
of the players, and you know who you are responsible for nearly 100 on their own.
Okay. So my biggest whale of a player, man, I shouldn't call him that. I'm very, very sorry for calling you that, Jaden. He has like 7, maybe.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do you manage this?
Well, I don't have to manage the inactive characters because we basically put a limiting factor in domain play. So your audience is probably familiar with the idea of one-to-one time. We use something a little similar. When we first launched this campaign world on our Gilded server, we began using 4-to-1 time. And then when we switched over to Horde Wars Advanced, we switched to 12-to-1 time. So this is to say, originally we had a month equaling a month in the game world is a week in real life, and then when we switched over, we went to a week or 2 weeks, basically depending on how often we're doing domain play. But whenever we have a domain play session, the time between that and the next domain play session is 1 season in the game world, and that seems to work well when you're dealing with raising armies, when you're dealing with building castles or cathedrals or this kind of stuff, because in real life, that was not a slow thing. Same with building ships, or not a fast thing, I should say. Same with building ships. And so we're pacing it based on our domain play rules, which are in advanced.
How many players do you have at the table at one time?
Oh, I forgot. The limiting factor, though, is they can only use 2 characters at a given domain play event. And if they can't make it, they can direct message me what up to 2 characters are doing. Everyone else is assumed to be off carousing, having children, camping in random spots in the wilderness, whatever it might be. They have to pick their favorite characters for domain play. I think the largest domain play session that I ran was 12 at the same time. 12 players at the same time. And I think we maybe had one that was maybe 13 or 14. And I was like, if this becomes normal, guys, just so you know, I'm going to be bringing in another DM specifically to shove some of you in a side room to make this run fast. Like if, for example, 4 of them have had characters who were on like, who were fighting in a war and nobody else was doing that, I would have put them in a side room for the other game master to adjudicate that war or that battle or whatever it might be. But typically, I would say for the active ones, you know, because some of them are participating during the weeks. They're playing in different game sessions, because there are game sessions that I'm running and that some of our customers are running on the Gilded server that are all happening in this campaign world. And basically, they just send me play reports and follow the game rules. And as long as those 2 things are happening, it's not a problem. Yeah.
Go on.
Anyway, so as far as game masters go, we have probably, I think 7, but 2 or 3 are actually quite active, and then the others are just like once in a while, or they'll do like a short like arc of 1 to 6 sessions or this kind of thing.
Okay.
But that works well. And so I'm running, they're running, my co-author runs sometimes. And so we get, in a given like 2-week span, probably anywhere from 0 if we're off, if Nate and I are off to do like some in-person event, anywhere from 0 potentially if no one else is running to like 30 or 40 players who can play in different events.
Okay.
Typically 20-25 in a given like couple weeks. Real individual humans, different characters frequently as well. We got some players who are very, very invested in the online play, and others who are less invested, and still others who get the chance to play in real life. And this is just kind of something they do when they've got some free time, and that's fine too.
Yeah, I have 15 players in my game, and I think that's a lot. Like they meet around like 4 times a week. I don't go to half of them. I run like half the games, and the others are run by the players. But like that just I find that a lot to manage. I can see. So I use Discord to basically have different notes channels for all my players. I have different like different channels and different ways to organize the game through Discord. But you're saying you use Gilded, which I think might be better just because it has that calendar functionality. Now, I don't know if you guys use that because you don't use 1-to-1, you use like 12-to-1. So I'm not really sure how that works. I assume like you said each game session covers, or each week covers a month. Is that correct?
That's how that. So 12-to-1 each week would cover a season.
3 months.
4-to-1 each week would cover a month. But our ratio isn't quite real life weeks, though it was at first. Our ratio is based on whenever we have a domain play session. So I'll give you an example. Normally, I would have been running a domain play session today, now. Instead, I'm talking with you. So there's a little more time in real life for the players to get in a few more sessions before the next domain play, which is in like a week or two. I think it's in 2 weeks, because I believe next weekend, Nate and I and one of our customers are actually scheduled to go to a private convention, which is a lot of fun.
Well, that's exciting. So wait, so the timing isn't actually like consistent then?
It was initially, but we switched it to basically being a little less wearing on me. So I'm running. I'm running I'm running something like 250 game sessions a year, and I don't have enough energy to make it, or rather, I sometimes need a break, and especially if I have like a direct scheduling conflict like this today. And so for that, it's just like, no, we're going to miss this week, and then anything that would happen the rest of this week, this is Sunday, right, would still be happening between those two domain play sessions. Those act as our timing anchors, because we're running other gameplay sessions as well.
Sure. And so it sounds like you guys aren't bottlenecked by the number of DMs. It sounds like you have like a bunch of people willing to run sessions. Now, this is like new to me, this using your 12-to-1 time, which doesn't sound especially consistent. It's between like anchor sessions, like you want 3 months to pass between each anchor session, which
correct. Now, this is for online play. In person, I'm much more consistent. I have 2 or 3 in-person groups I play with regularly, 2 of whom are in the same campaign world and are helping playtest our next product, which has been really fun. One of them TPK'd after succeeding, which was interesting. They completed the mission and then blew up. But that was a series of poor choices involving calling in a orbital bombardment on themselves.
Okay. And Pounce Cleveland actually has a pretty good question that I was getting ready to ask. Sure. How long is the average session?
So for domain play, 3 or 4 hours. For for our adventures, probably 2 to 4 hours. There are some shorter ones, some longer ones.
Um, okay. And so what do these sessions now? I know you said you have these anchor sessions and then you have
Yep.
like regular game sessions, which are like more adventure focused, and the anchor sessions are domain focused. Is that what you do? You separate them?
Correct.
Okay. And okay, so how does an adventure happen with like an adventuring group in a world that has where 3 months pass over the course of a week generally? How do you fit that in?
Well, it's pretty simple. They play the entire adventure over the course of that week or
Okay,
that 2 weeks.
gotcha.
And if they don't, then time has passed, and then they can continue doing their dungeon delve. Now, sometimes we do get people stuck in time jail, but this kind of ratio of 4 to 1, like we did for basic, or 12 to 1, like we're doing for advanced. The reason for the change, by the way, is because advanced introduced a bunch of new things they could do, a bunch of rules they did not have before about building fortresses and raising armies and this kind of thing. We recommend using one of those two ratios in that chapter, simply for the reason that if you are 1 to 1 time, you will, well, one, an elf character will outlive you if things go well. But two, that domain level stuff happens at such a slow pace in reality and in game systems that try to reflect history that you won't get much done.
Okay.
Unless you
Um,
either A, ignore real life history, or B, play a game that is a bit more modern, which you can do. Like modern army raising and battles can happen much more quickly than medieval ones. In the Middle Ages, you'd have a dude still raising troops 4 months into the war.
yeah. Um, it's actually interesting because I've been playing with 1 to 1 time, and I find that there's like this huge dichotomy where like 1 to 1 is it's fast on an adventuring scale when you're looking at
Yes.
player characters because stuff is happening, but it's slow when you're looking at domain play. So you have like these like conventional 5e games where they'll play for like a year and 2 weeks have gone by in their world, and then you have games like this where you'll play for a year and 12 years have gone by. 12
Yeah.
years or 4 years. I can't remember. I
12.
12 years have gone
Yeah.
by in your world. And so it's just such a different game that people are playing. And I'm kind of like I feel like I'm very in between with this with 1 to 1. So tell me, what does a typical domain play session look like in with this timekeeping?
Well, if I can, let me give you where I got the idea, or where Nate and I developed this a bit, and then I'll be happy to answer your question. Uh,
Okay.
so we ran back-to-back multi-year campaigns years ago using an edition of D&D, and we read the advice found in the Birthright campaign setting. We were playing our own setting. Our players, as I described to you once before, helped build this setting over the course of a weekend. We had about 15, 17 people get together at our workplace, actually, at the time, and brought them in the break room, and we spent 2 or 3 days straight just, and they, they'd go home to sleep, come back, and we made an entire campaign setting that we used for 2 back-to-back 2 or 3 year campaigns. So it lasted over about half a decade. So it was well worth the weekend. And we found, because the players, the first time we started playing in that game world, we had 3 DMs, 3 different sessions running weekly. And we had probably 15 to 20 players, maybe 24 at the high point. And that game world, we wound up having players who decided to do some nation building. They decided to carve a nation out of a town that they'd managed to take, and spread it across the world. And because of the Birthright's recommendation for speed, which we tried, which was the 4 to 1 or the 12 to 1 time frame, it was fast enough that even using that version of D&D's rules for like fortress construction and stuff, they were able to do it. They were able to do this whole nation building arc. And then when that was done, the second campaign we played in that world was the next generation, where they were playing their own kids.
Okay. I mean,
that's where we got the idea. But the nation building part wound up being the first like 20 minutes of each game session, where the council of their ruling council would meet and deal with, here's the list of problems that have been reported to you. You're going to do anything about it? Like, here's a court case that's pending, or there are supplicants here to see you, or this whole list of the world interacting with them. And then when they dealt with that, either they would go on an adventure or do other things, or sometimes dealing with it would spawn the adventure. And so domain play on our Gilded server works the same way, except we have an entire session dedicated to it, where here's what's going on in the world, and what are your agendas relating to that. Now, they won't know things that are outside of their the characters they bring to the table. So, for example, if you've got characters who are only in a small area of the nation of Mercia, and then a few who are in like the borderlands with the Easterns, they're only going to know news and rumors in the areas that the active characters are there for. So they won't know what's happening in Franconia or Brigmar or whatever. But they find out what's going on locally. So, for example, in one of our domain play sessions, they found out that there was like a rumor of witches. And so every single player but one, I think, who was there for that domain play decided to have one of their two characters join the witch hunt. And so that wound up being half the domain play session was a witch hunt, where they were looking for evidence, trying to find the witch. And they did find what they suspected to be a warlock, arrested him. In the next domain play session, they had a trial as one of the events that a number of the characters participated in, and that was a lot of fun.
okay.
And they also do things like participate in crusades, in mass battles, or this sort of thing. Or you'll get something ridiculous. You'll get one character who decides to run some kind of property scam. Yes, Stephen, it's you. He basically flipped houses. He'd buy peasant homes and then edit them a little and then sell them to adventurers for way more money. And he had bought all the available hovels, so you could only get property from him in that particular town.
Okay.
So anything from big group cooperative things to little individual things. We also had players start their own like murder schemes, their own efforts at seduction or subversion of government, or all different stuff. It's been really interesting, and you get that kind of rich and kind of living world when you have multiple parties or multiple groups of characters, each with their own agenda, or just individual characters who are out for a specific thing.
I certainly agree with that. The multiple parties creating a living world. I'm seeing that in my group that has, less than half of the players that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy. Like we recently had a trial in one of our towns because 3 of our characters were caught. One of them holding up the severed head of a noble lady. As guards kind of came in and raided the villa, and that was a problem. But one of the player characters was a political figure in the town and served as the judge, so it was fine. And he actually came in. He's not even normally in that group, and it was actually a really cool moment. So I am seeing the living world that's being created. But what I wonder is in in my game, we use one-to-one time, and time has kind of become a resource that players manage, right?
Oh yeah.
Time is the same as gold. Because I mean, they only have a certain amount of downtime. You know, training to level takes some of their downtime, crafting takes some of their downtime, perusing, and then there's exploring. They have to budget their time. Travel.
Yes.
There's lots and lots of stuff that they can do, but they can only do a certain amount. How do people keep up with that when there's like months between sessions is what I wonder, because it seems like, so you're when there's like months between sessions, it seems like for a player character, on a player character scale, not a domain scale, but a player character scale, it might be like, do people keep up with their downtime there, or do they say,
They do.
okay, they don't just say, my barbarian or my fighter is going to, you know, spend time with his family for this 3 months and they'll come back. Like,
well,
so
for example, we had a new customer within the last month who came and played his very first session of Horde Wars, and the first thing that he wound up doing was resolving a political problem non-violently, which was really interesting. It's not our typical session, as you can imagine from the game title, but we do have a number of example adventures and quest hooks and this kind of thing in our setting and in our starting area, some of which include social problems. And this was one they had. They had to fight a number of things to get to the inn alive, evading undead and beasts and monsters and stuff. But they get to this inn, and there's a noblewoman who is just awful, treating the staff terribly, orders the innkeeper beaten basically because she wants to, dumps the dregs of her drink on the waitress's head to let her know she wants a refill, like is just really rude, and is trash talking the country she's in. And the players realize that if they just kill her, A, there are witnesses, and B, it would cause them lots of problems, including the new player who'd never played our game before. He was able to successfully use his character's abilities and role-playing and stuff to resolve the situation peacefully and gained a reward. And the reward he gained is the innkeeper was ready to turn over the inn to his daughter and resume his work as a soldier. And so now he's got a soldier willing to serve him as soon as he can afford to pay him. And so the very first reward he got in a normal session actually related to domain play stuff and to an ongoing cost and benefit he could gain, where he could totally, this guy is loyal to him and will actually serve him, but he does have to pay him. And how is he going to earn money to do that? And is he going to leverage that into more power or influence in the world? But the same is true for characters who go on sailing adventures or who invest in merchant caravans or do various other things. They will definitely utilize the downtime with their characters to try to either, depending on the character, turn a profit, do research, explore, or even just do some political intrigue and scheming. Trade has also proven to be weirdly popular in their downtime. But a lot of the downtime, though, they spend traveling. Getting around the game world itself is dangerous and not especially fast. And so let's pretend you had one character that you wanted to play in the domain play session, and then you had the same character and you wanted to play in a different country in the world. Well, you just burned a bunch of time and you might die in the process of trying to get to that other place. You got to roll for how that went.
I mean, that makes sense to me. So just a brief explanation here for something completely unrelated.
Sure.
If it seems like I am struggling with my cat, it's because she is not a fan of the show. Her name is Athena. She is not a fan of the show because it means I'm not playing with her. And so she is rioting by attacking the cords on the back of my computer, which is why I'm like trying to hold her away from there. So if it looks like I'm holding my cat against her will, it's because she is trying to pull out the cords from the back of my computer. So I'll play with her. And if I suddenly freeze or have to leave, it's because she succeeded. So Anyway,
Understood. Well, no
um,
worries. I do want to quick answer a couple questions or comments from
yes,
the chat. A couple
absolutely.
of adventurers. I hope you do. I think that would be hilarious, given that you've been using Halfling Merchant League as a handle for a while. I think that would be quite funny. And Flint, to answer your question, yes, we do. We have tables both for um, real issues that like affect you at a domain level, but we also have a table for like court gossip, which we have a note that says 25% of the gossip is true. So you can roll for just ridiculous things, as well as like more serious things like an outbreak of the plague or the arrival of a fiend in the world or um, a blood moon or various other things as
I
well.
have to say, tables like that are always my favorite thing to get in an RPG product because of how universal they are
Oh yeah,
and how I can generally just use whatever table in whatever game and it usually just works fine.
for
Except
sure.
for the time I accidentally used Spelljammer in a game that was not Spelljammer friendly, and we won't talk about that. But
Well, if
I
you
grabbed
go,
the wrong book. Mhm.
if you've got the, I don't know, do you want me to try presenting, or did you want to try? I can show you one of the tables
Sure.
very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Let me
I'll
try this.
Safety concerns. We are talking about Horde Wars. Horde Wars is DM Blackwell's RPG that he has made. And we're specifically talking about that, but we're actually also talking about the logistics of running a like 15 plus person campaign world
Yeah,
a lot in the stream. So which is applicable to about any RPG, whether or not you're using Horde Wars. I don't know. There are probably many that you can't run a huge campaign world in, but
now can you read this?
yes, I can.
All right. So this is one of those tables that was being asked about. And if you give it a glance, let me know what you think, Harmony.
Let's see. Appeal for justice. Okay, seasonal events table. We have the ruler gains 1 year worth of taxes this season. Ooh, I like that one. A challenge. Roll a d4 on 1 to 2. What does that say? Matter of honor on a
It's a matter
3.
of honor. Yeah. So
Okay,
someone like
gotcha.
wants to duel you.
Oh, okay, okay. On a 3, rival claimant. On a 4, trial by combat. Oh, nice.
Yep.
Diplomatic incident. Ooh, I might use this. I really like
You
this.
should.
Um, like this seems like something that would be applicable in a lot of RPGs, not just
Yeah.
Horde Wars. Now it is seasonal, so I mean it's not something you'd want to use every week in a 1-to-1 time game, but
No.
I
It's
mean,
meant to be
yeah.
seasonal, but that's because some of these problems are really long-term problems. Some are brief, but like an outbreak of a heretical cult in your land is going to probably be more than a one-day problem. Or for that matter, a population boom. This has like long-term consequences. Uh, um, and the astronomical events do tell you to go roll on another table, which we don't typically do, but that's because we've got 8 or more different unique astronomical events specific to Horde Wars. But it's not hard to do the same thing in another game. Just write a list.
I do find it interesting that you're super committed to the D12. Like every table's a D12.
No, not every
Um,
table.
Not every table. Okay,
Treasure tables
good.
use D20s. And
Perfect.
I'll show you an example here. I have to zoom out a little bit. The reason that we did that is so that you have you can see you've got all these different outcomes for different danger levels. But if we scroll down a bit, like say you're rolling for decorations, the really rare stuff's down here, and you roll a nat 20 and then you roll down here.
Ooh.
And
Oh,
so
I
the
like that.
same applies if I jump around a little. Too far. There. The same applies like for our general artifacts table. So you're rolling for, say, magic armor or a magic book or tome or what have you. Well, the really rare ones are you have to roll a natural 20 and then you're rolling a d6 down here. And so that gives you about a 0.8% chance to find one of the rare ones, but a 5% chance to find one of the others.
And see, I find that low percentage chances like that when you're playing a game with like 5 players in a single group, they make no sense because they're never going to happen. And who cares if they're low percentage, right? But then when you have like a big living campaign world, when you have like one guy that gets something super rare from those things, that's big. That's campaign changing. And
It
it's
is.
awesome when like nobody can get that stuff except like the really, really lucky people. I love that.
Yeah.
Now I want to bring it back to your player driven world because I have to know how you handle this. And part of this is me like grilling you a little bit on it, but part of it is because I'm running into it in my game and I just kind of want to compare notes.
Sure.
So you were saying you have players who are like building fortresses and becoming major figures in your world, right?
Yeah.
How does that change things? Like, how do you handle when players become like political figures and are making major world decisions? Do you personally feel like you are losing influence in the world? Do you feel like this is a good thing for the longevity of the campaign?
I think it's a good thing in general. Now, we did, again, because of like releasing the new rule set, right? We did do by I simply had the players vote. I'm like, so look, we've got new customers coming in with this new book. What do you guys want to do? Because we should find an easy way to onboard them and not probably have them all running around with your higher level characters. It may not be the most fun for them. Like we could have like special beginner sessions, or we could have, and I listed a few options. And what they decided to do, the majority of them, was to retire their existing characters and when Horde Wars Advanced came out, and begin playing as the next generation of characters. And so that's what we did. And each of their previous characters' heirs could inherit up to one magic item from their parent to reward them. And then their previous characters, most of whom are still alive, are NPCs in the game world and often being run still by those players, but kind of as patrons, rather than as active characters, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But that was a specific situation because we were releasing a new book and had a bunch of we had new people coming in. But when it comes to in general, I think it's a good thing. The hard part is designing a world in which players can exercise a lot of freedom and not I don't know, implode the planet, which is I mean, that sounds silly, but that's a thing like Marvel and DC have all the time in their writing. But and those they control those characters, and it's a yeah. So you have to design a game world that can handle player freedom. And in our case, we deliberately limited our design space to a single continent because we wanted the game masters who pick up our game and the players who pick up our game to be able to add their own ideas and content. And that's one of the better ways to do it. Go, yeah, other stuff could exist. It's somewhere else.
Yeah, that's I know many people have done that since you have like the known world and then there's blank spaces. Any good RPG map, in my opinion, has blank spaces on it. So you find that you have players who are kind of becoming political figures in your world and kind of leaning into the domain play of it.
Some of whom may or may not be trying to assassinate each other.
Okay. I was going to ask you next. I was all right. You just answered my question. Wonderful. So your players do exist in conflict. They're not just all friends and
no. We had an entire we had a major villain start acting. He wouldn't have done anything because he basically the players caused him to be released. One group of players. And that group of players playing some of our orcs then began launching a war on the rest of the world. They Most of those characters, that was pre-retirement. Most of those characters are retired, but I recently got messages from some of them who are definitely interested in continuing to be that problem.
Okay, so you have
One guy
so
actually was like, "So I made a character especially to fight everyone else."
oh no. Like that's so we have that in my campaign world too. I have some players who are playing evil gods and they unleash like a bane of orcs. Is that the collective term for orcs? I think it is. A bane of orcs upon the land or things like that. In our case, it was spiders. But on the player character level, they'll just then play a player character and team up with everybody else. Does that happen in your game? Do you have
Oh
players
yeah.
who play like the evil domain plus the plus the good adventure? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And the way I helped introduce that is I actually approached a player who had only brought one character to the domain play, and he was early, and I'm like, "Hey, do you want to play a vampire this session?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, you only brought one character. I will give you a vampire with a budget. Don't tell the others what you're doing. Play the vampire." He's like, "All right." And he got a group of player characters to go on an adventure with his vampire. And then the next time that they had domain play, the players were getting suspicious already, but they didn't figure it out. The next domain play, he straight up murdered one and robbed them. And then the other two player characters were there and witnessed it and tried to stop him, and they weren't quick enough. They almost got killed too, and then the vampire escaped. And then they had a few sessions where like a bunch of the domain play characters were really excited to go murder this vampire. Because this happened.
I love this.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Even for the player whose character died, he did get some sweet revenge eventually. Not because I rigged it, but because he may have had a vampire hunter character that he decided would avenge him.
It makes sense to me. And Snortopupus, man, I wish I had never said your name out loud, says the easiest game I ever GM'd was the one where all the players hired assassins to kill other players. Who needs monsters for that? And I think that speaks to something I really love about RPGs. I don't think PvP works in the standard single party RPG where you're all going towards an objective. Like, let me see if I can think of an example. The Lord of the Rings, for example, where where all the characters are going to destroy the ring. And of course they split off and something, but they are a team. Like PvP doesn't really work in that group because the entire involvement a player has in the game is their one character. But when players have more than one character, or when they're controlling a domain or a god or something, or they've made a permanent mark on the world in some way, then you can actually have this stuff where players are attempting to assassinate each other, sabotaging, turning each other into vampires. You can actually have this kind of thing, and it adds a lot to your campaign world. And like the thing I love about it is players are so much more diabolical than I could ever be. Like they'll tell me, they'll give me like really big plans for things. Like I have like this desert demon, right? And this is like something that was randomly rolled on a table at some point. There's like a demon out in the desert in my game. And I'm like, man, I really don't know what to do with him. So I will assign him to a player and I'll be like, all right, he has this much time to work with. What is he doing? Here is the demon. Here are his goals. What is he doing? And they're like, oh yeah, so he's going to send some spies to stalk this guy. And then he's going to be gathering power here. And then when this guy steps out of town, he's going to strike. And it's insane what players will think of. And I don't want to give like the full example there because it might actually be happening in my game and I might have players listening. I don't know. So but players are just they're so much meaner than I am. And because in like a standard single party game, it's like a given that players are going to win. It's like the way conventional gaming goes, players will win. They're going to destroy the ring, right? That's just how the story goes. But when you break away from story gaming and you go into what a living world can be, you get like great stories that come out of it, but nobody knows what's going to happen next, because suddenly you're not doing like player versus the BBEG anymore. Now it's like player versus some random desert demon that's controlled by another player, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's so much more exciting to me when you have things like this.
Now we do give you a few things to help emulate that, but something as well. But something that you said earlier. So one thing that we do is later, if you have some time, you should check out our setting chapter. We basically give you a 2-page spread of each of the 8 nations in the starting area in the continent, and that 2-page spread includes 3 adventures that are location based, and usually has about 7 or so NPCs, each of whom have their own agenda. And so when I have players start game mastering on our Gilded server, many times they are starting from a NPC or plot line that we provide in the book, and then they just go with it. What am I going to do with this next? Other times it's made up whole cloth, which is a lot of fun too. But in our Game Master chapter, we explain something that you may have seen me talk about a little bit on Black Lodge Games. When you caught that episode, I'm not sure, but let me quick see if I can make this big enough to be legible. Let's see here. Here we go. See what you think of this. It's basically even if you just have a session with 3 to 5 players, this is a way to help kind of emulate the sort of emergent plot you'll get with larger groups or multiple play groups that are interacting in the same world.
Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud.
Sure.
Emergent plots. To make the game world feel alive and create emergent stories, narrow each plot point or starting attitude down to 3 possibilities. The most likely outcome should have a 50% chance, and the other 2 outcomes should each have a 25% chance. Announce the possibilities and then have one of your players roll a d4 to determine which is true. This helps engage the players with the story and gives them the opportunity to make suggestions prior to the roll. Example of play, the local lord. Let's say that the players learn that a local lord is sneaking off to an inn late at night. You decide that the following possibilities explain why he is sneaking off and announce them to the group. Then one of the players rolls a d4 to determine which is true. On a 1 or a 2, the local lord is meeting with his lover. On a 3, he's part of a secret cult. And on a 4, he is hiring an assassin. The same method can be used to demonstrate who the lover is, or to determine who the lover is, what the secret cult wants, or what the assassin is targeting. These rolls should only be made when the information becomes relevant. NPC personality traits should help you determine which plot points and starting attitudes are the most likely.
Yeah. We give another example on the next page, but what do you think of that idea?
That's similar to what I do already, actually. When I don't know what's going to happen, we kind of come up with a few possibilities and I'll just roll on it. That's almost, I don't know, I don't use a d4 for it generally, but that's pretty well what I have done for a few years.
Well, the difference, there is a difference though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Try having your players roll. Announce the possibilities, have them roll. Give it a shot. Again, only have them roll when it becomes relevant, like when they would discover it anyway. Mm-hmm. Because if you do it, I bet you'll find that it engages them more. Well, because people like to gamble, frankly, and there will be an outcome they want. And when you have them roll, you'll see the players sit up around the table and get engaged in a way that they won't if you're rolling secretly or just kind of on your own. And they have the opportunity to keep you honest because you announced ahead what was going to happen based on the roll.
Okay. I will say that normally I do it myself and just sort of reveal the information when it's relevant. So that is something that's a little bit different about this from what I do, because a lot of times I'll just kind of roll something on event tables, because we do a lot of downtime event tables, because that seems to provide the seed for the next adventure. And you were talking about your adventure seeds in your book and how people will take that as a starting off point and go. I think that's like the best kind of supplement or module, in my opinion, because I don't want a whole story in a module, because I don't know where the players are going to take it. I don't know like what's going to happen in my game. Like, it's kind of the classic, like at the beginning of Curse of Strahd or something, they see some Vistani at a bar and they're like, yes, you should go this way through the mists or something. And the player's like, but what if we want to go somewhere else? Like, your quest seeds like that and adventure seeds provide the opportunity to do that. And
sure.
it's my favorite kind of supplement. It really is, because you're just like, okay, well, let's see what comes of something else then. And the players can bite on what they want to and ignore what they don't want.
Well, then there are 2 chapters that you'll want to check out, which are both at the end. One of which is the starting area, the sample starting area, and the other is the setting. Those both have a bunch of those sorts of adventure seeds and NPCs and this kind of thing. And Glitch is correct. Sometimes when the players roll, they'll go, "Oh no, why?" if they get a terrible result. But the fun part is for you as the game master, is you get to discover the plot with the players. Yeah, you determine what the possibilities were, but you don't actually know either. You found out right when they did.
I certainly enjoy that. Go ahead.
And that's a lot of fun. You get a similar experience when you're running multiple parties or multiple sessions or multiple game masters with multiple groups or some mixture thereof that interact with each other. But this is a way to do that at a smaller scale as well. And nothing stops you from using it at large scale. I certainly do. And you can hear, even online, you can hear the players getting more engaged and or nervous as they roll.
My favorite part of these things, my favorite part of these games entirely, is when you have like one group that meets another group or does something that affects another group in some way, or you have like some big convergence of different things that just all comes together. Those are the most memorable sessions.
Definitely.
I'll never forget some of them that have happened in my game. But
have you ever had your players start talking with each other outside of the game, like from different sessions?
Yes.
Yeah. That can be hilarious. I had one party who was basically trolling the other party in the game world. It was great. They were doing stuff like, they were playing in a modern setting. They were doing stuff like stealing the other party's vehicles and moving them. Or like planting items in their bedrooms, or just other goofy things. Like,
we've had some people mess with other groups too. We've had them give the most annoying NPC that people just trade around and goes to every group. We have that a lot. But anyway, the Ultra American TTRPGer, thank you so much for the $5. One of my favorite Horde Wars moments was my halfling tavern wench Viking sacrificing herself to give the party a fighting chance against a group of giants.
Yeah,
that sounds extremely epic. Did that happen? Was that in your game, or was that in a different game?
Yeah.
Oh, it was? Okay. I didn't know he was playing your game. Oh, that's cool.
Yes. We've had how can I put that? The people I play with in person can give you more direct evidence. The online people can too, though. I don't pull punches. I roll in the open, and often I will literally show the players the stat block and go, "This is what you're fighting. Make good choices."
So you showed
what you rolled on the encounter table. So this is what's happening.
So maybe this is like something that's super obvious about the game that I missed. You showed the players the stat blocks?
Online, I sometimes will, because I can't show them my rolls.
Okay.
Right. At least not usefully. In person, the players see the rolls. They know if I critted on them or not. There's no screen. Right.
Okay.
And so
the way you said that, I thought that was a mechanic to the game, that the players could see the stat blocks.
No, it's just something I do. It's something I do online occasionally to help them keep me honest. To have them, or because the character would know roughly how dangerous something is. And the player might
Right.
not have caught that.
See, so we do that in a couple ways, actually. I in my game, players can research certain types of enemies, or if they're going after a dragon, they can research the type of dragon, research like how strong it might be, what its weaknesses are beforehand. That's just a standard Dungeons and Dragons mechanic.
Oh, sure. We do
Also,
that as well.
yeah. Also, I'll sometimes have them make like knowledge rolls to see like what knew about this previously, especially if they come from like a background where they might know.
Oh, sure,
But
sure. We do have some unique monsters or things you'd have heard of, but you might not know how we statted. For example, the Horned Lord is a thing in real mythology, but the how we statted it out. We had a group of players who encountered one and didn't quite understand how dangerous the fight was, and then I just let them see part of the stat block, and they went, "Oh, this guy can kill all of us."
oh yeah, dude, I love that realization when it sets in. Like I had a couple players who were kind of new to the game, and they saw this like this giant blue salamander like coiled around a box. They didn't know what was in the box, and they're like, "This thing's sleeping on an iceberg. Like, let's go. Let's go. We can kill this and take what it has, whatever."
Now
And
how
so a
big
couple
was
of
it?
them,
We talking like
oh, it
of
was
the
huge, it was
here?
giant. We're talking, it was a frost salamander, so like it
Okay.
was pretty big. It wasn't a behir though. So like two of them think that they can kill it alone because one of them's like level 8 or something, and they like fly together because one of them can fly and carry the other off the ship and leave everybody else behind and decide that they think that they can kill it by themselves. And
Oh
oh,
no.
the look on their face when it just downed them both immediately, and the others were scrambling to see if they could save them and run. Oh, it was beautiful. And I think, I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but well, the rest of the group was like dubbing it the time the guys tried to harm themselves with a frost salamander. That's the part I'm not sure
Oh
what you
yeah.
can say on YouTube anymore. But yeah, no, it was great. And he was just a chill dude. He was just like laying there, and they came into his playground.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. That's like, I really love that feeling when players have no idea how strong something is.
I do as well, but again, online I
Yeah,
need to give them a bit of a benefit of a doubt because they can't see my dice rolls and
of
they can't
course.
see my expression. So
See, yeah.
sometimes it's like, all right, guys, like just so we're all on the same page, what you're doing.
Oh, you don't use do you use a webcam when you team online?
No, I don't
Oh, I
typically.
do. See, I use a webcam and I use a dice bot that like broadcasts to everybody, so like everyone can see when I roll with that. So
Well, I
there's
generally
there's
have them
no,
rolling with real dice at home as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd love to do that. I should definitely think about ways to make that happen. But let's see. Uh somebody had a really good comment. I'm not gonna say your name again.
Burr.
Cuber, but Burr. Yeah, we're gonna call him Cuber. One of my fondest memories was playing an evil character who was so nice and lovable when it suited him that the paladin wanted to serve this paragon of good. It took a few games and something bad happened.
Uh-oh.
I love this. I love when people play these evil characters in ways where the party will accept them, and then like bad things start happening and no one knows why. And this is the thing, like this is why I love having a lot of downtime and time passing between sessions. Now, my preference is 1-to-1 time, but I haven't tried 12-to-1 time. So like, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But anyway.
If you were to
Yeah.
try it, I would suggest
Okay.
trying 4-to-1 first.
Okay. I'm probably going to stick with 1-to-1 for the foreseeable future just because my group is very acclimated to it at this point. But I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. I totally oh yeah. What I really love about it is you can have like players who are playing like evil characters like assassins or thieves or something, and like they can totally just adventure with a party. It's fine. It's fine. But the party's like not with them on downtime. So like you open up a session and suddenly like the rogue has something very valuable that they didn't before. That also there's also like rumors that a noble has lost a very valuable trinket, and it's like, where did you get that? So I mean, you can have the evil characters like just be evil on their downtime, and the party just sort of has to deal with the consequences of that as it slowly it is revealed to them that their friend has not been a paragon of virtue in their downtime. So yeah, that's been fun for me. I assume you get something similar in 4-1 or 12-1 time.
Yes, it can be a lot of fun. Now, if you would, there is I put you the link in private chat if you'd be willing to share it. I'm pretty sure with how YouTube works that you have to post it, not me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I have this link in the video description.
Oh, if you do, great. I didn't check.
I did, but here's where you can purchase Horde Wars if you would like, or Horde Wars Advanced. That is the PDF. No, it's there. It's there. It's on the I thought I pasted a system address there for a second, but that's where you can purchase the PDF. It is also in the video description, or at least a link to his website is. Couple of adventures. Thank you so much for the $5. Everyone was quite surprised when my peace-loving halfling merchant sacrificed an angel to become a dark lord. What?
Oh no!
Is this in Gobstein? I want to know if this was in Gobstein. That's great. I love that more and more games are sort of embracing this style of play recently, where it's really kind of a Bronstein style with players who have different goals, who are pursuing different things come together, and some of them are good, some are evil, but you don't know who's who. And I've really loved this this new wave of play because I'm seeing it everywhere, like 1-to-1 time. Like, I just want to put it out there that I tried this a year ago, but it's going mainstream now. I don't know if I had anything to do with that. Maybe I did, but I mean, maybe it was all Kelsey. I don't know. But this stuff is like really hitting the mainstream now. I think
it's a pendulum swing, really, because like I said, when I learned to play that way, I learned it from an AD&D adventure, right? And so my group,
which one was it? The
Birthright, campaign.
Birthright. Okay.
It recommends how much time to have passed between sessions, specifically for domain play and the like. And so I think, I mean, that was clearly something people were playing then and before, but then it kind of fell off. Anything after that, you won't really find that sort of thing mentioned much at all. In 3rd edition, 3.5, 4th edition, 5th edition D&D, this kind of fell away. And so it's really weird for me, because I think I'm older than you. It's really weird for me playing, a quarter century ago, the same way, to now, where seeing it becoming more popular. Because even then, like, Birthright didn't sell well. It wasn't especially popular at the time. There is a small loyal fan base still, but it's not the one you want to, if you're the big company, it's not the one you want to remake and sell.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I can say with absolute certainty I was not playing RPGs a quarter century ago because I was not allowed. I was alive, but I wasn't allowed to play. Yeah. I was alive and sentient at that point, but
I had a period where I was not allowed as well. But my parents have changed their thoughts on that since.
I'm glad that they finally let you play. And
it was more I started playing and they eventually decided to accept that. But
no, that makes sense. And so I kind of somewhat understand, and we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, so please stop me if I go somewhere you don't want to talk about. But from what I understand, this game you run is run partially through a church group. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
No, when we were talking before, I was saying that I in my professional life, after my leg got crushed, I am partially disabled. I switched career trajectory. I was doing other work before, that was, I would say, more violent. I switched to doing administrative work at a church, and
Okay.
and then later, and then was elected as a deacon, and then served in some church governance administrative roles. And then since then, I've rotated off deacon, our particular branch of Christianity. You serve for a period of time, and then you're out of office, and you can serve again later, and so on. Anyway, and then recently was selected to help with some more administrative work for a group of 17 churches. So completely unrelated to role-playing games. That's just in my personal life stuff I'm doing.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. I think I misunderstood because I actually thought
Yeah.
you were running your game partially through a church, and I was going to
No,
ask you like
no.
how that went and if you ran into
A
any
number.
issues there, because I used to play some RPGs with a church group, and I really think that that RPGs, like they seem to just there's like this weird dichotomy where like some churchgoers really hate them and others embrace them because
Sure.
it's an activity that a group can do together that's actually quite wholesome, doesn't involve drinking, smoking, or anything like that, you know. And
I think
I found that,
about
yeah,
a
go ahead.
dozen. I think about a
Mhm.
dozen people I go to church with have bought our product. A number do play, and a couple of them. One guy has been playing RPGs for like 35 years. His wife had never played, but she came and tried out our game at a convention, and now she's been playing Horde Wars for a little over a year, and seems to really enjoy it. She's also been playtesting some of our other material. And their daughter actually did one of the pieces of artwork, or two, depending on which version of our game you pick up, in Horde Wars Advanced. Her very first commercial commission.
Oh.
So like 16, 17-year-old girl who likes doing art did do one or two pieces for our game.
Oh.
So that would be as much of a connection as you're gonna see
Okay.
there. Actually, her dad was over here earlier today. He and I had lunch together.
Oh, well,
Uh,
that's lovely. I'm sorry for bringing religion into this because
you're
I
good.
really don't mean to. I'm just interested a lot of times in bringing RPGs into new spaces and
Sure.
what they can do for groups of people. For the same reason, I talked to Scudder for Mike on this channel about him using RPGs to help teach English to Chinese children.
Oh, sure.
It's just to me it's a unique and interesting place to bring RPGs that can be, I don't know, useful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think
So
so. And
mhm,
ultra is correct in chat. There is
yeah.
definitely Christian symbolism, but that is deliberate. Not just because I'm a Christian. It's because if you're going to play in the Middle Ages, the medieval Catholic Church was a pretty big deal. If you're going to play in an analog of a medieval setting, a European medieval setting, you need something like that, or you're not really playing a medieval setting. You're just adding some flavor. And so we wanted to have a strong central monotheistic church as an important part of the game world.
Grack RPG, thank you so much for the $5. Can I bribe you to go through character creation harmony? I'd be interested in how quick a new player could catch on. Well, I would be willing to create a character on stream if DM Blackwell or Todd would guide me through that right now,
Sure.
if he is willing. Okay.
Sure. Why don't
Yeah,
you
sure.
do the screen
Oh,
sharing though, if you can?
but I don't have it up. Okay. Yeah, I can get it pulled up. I definitely have this. I opened it up earlier today. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I do have it up actually. Ah, look at this. All
Because that'll
right.
help me see where you are in the book.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, let's see. I have, yeah, I'm gonna share my like Edge browser, which is what I have this up in. Don't chide me for being a boomer. Okay, window, let's see
Now
this one. All right.
let me quick make one step easier for you if I
Mhm.
can. Let me try and find it here. There we go. I'm gonna share this.
And let's see,
And then
let's
I
go to
just need to quick find your email. You've emailed me, right?
I Maybe I gave you my email. I don't know if I emailed you. F in chat for Edge. It's what my PDFs are like brought up by default. I usually use Brave, but like whenever I open a PDF, it goes to Edge, and I never like bothered to set a better default browser. F in chat for as they all discover that Harmony's a boomer. Yeah. Okay.
So what I just did is I shared with you from that same email address a Google Docs version of the same of our character sheet. So if you want, you can essentially use that. What you would do is make your own copy. You wouldn't edit the one I shared with you.
Yes, I see. Okay.
And you just click make a copy, and then you can.
Yeah, I can definitely do this. Copy. Nope, that's copy.
I believe in you.
All right. So I do good computers. I'm like so much better when I'm not on stream at doing basic tasks. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a copy of this. I don't know how to make a copy. File make a copy. I found it, guys.
There you go. And then your copy will be editable. Yeah.
Amazing. It's cool how this works. All right. So let me see if I can bring
this will let you like copy and paste to make your character, which is going to be a lot faster than you handwriting.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. I'm not logged in on the right browser then. All right. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to share my Edge browser now. Not my Edge browser, my Brave. Okay. I got this, guys. I know what I'm doing.
Well, you can just copy and paste where they can't see it, and then bring it up as a surprise, complete. But in any case,
yeah, I could do that.
However you want to go. That's
I got this. I'll just do this in Edge. Okay.
So
I'm
you jump
very good
to character creation. And the first thing you do is number 1, pick your species. You've got 5 to pick from.
Okay. Let's oh no. Oh God. Share screen. Okay.
You can play a human, a dwarf, an elf, halfling, or an orc.
Well, you'll never believe what movie I just watched. And so I'm not gonna play an orc. But I will play a
Lord of the Rings. Now, orcs in our setting are a pretty strong analog to Vikings.
Okay.
In terms of their behavior and society. Because we wanted something to make them a little different than goblins.
All right. So let's do this. All right. Cool. You seem.
So which one did you pick?
I'm gonna pick a halfling.
Perfect. So when you pick your species, you're going to fill in a little bit of that information from your species, which includes your attribute points and possibly some abilities. So in the case of the halfling, you start. If you scroll down, you'll find it.
Yeah, I see it. Elf. Okay, we'll get there, guys. All right, cool. So he has +3 reflexes.
Yes.
And assign 3 attribute points freely. You can have a maximum of 6 in reflexes and 3 in any other attribute. Okay. Attribute points gained after character creation can exceed these maximums. Okay.
Right. So basically you've got 6 points, 3 are pre-assigned to reflexes.
All right. So I have 3 to reflexes and I can assign 6 more.
And you can assign 3 more.
I can assign 3 more. Okay. Yep. Numbers are hard, guys. All right. So we'll just go ahead and put like 1 in each for now.
Sure. That sounds good. And then you also get this gives you your starting languages. You get Rundari and 1 of your choice. And so that halfling you're still with that.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Yep. I went back too fast. Sorry, I'm a boomer. All right. So I get Rundari and another language of my choice. Thank you so much. A couple of adventures, halflings forever. I agree. And okay, so Rundari and another language of my choice.
Yep. So this will give you 1 of your starting languages, which will go at the bottom left of your character sheet.
Okay. I don't know how to spell Rundari. It's like something like that.
Copy paste.
I type things. I learn better that way.
Okay.
All right. And one language of my choice. What are the other languages?
They were on the earlier page, but we can just jump back to that in a moment.
All right.
Let's keep going with the halfling stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Land speed.
Oh, okay. Land speed 6 spaces.
Yep. And so that's on your character sheet, top right area.
Here, 6. And then we have natural weapons, 1d4 blunt damage. Where's my weapon?
Yes, fear the mighty halfling fists.
Weapons.
they're not the best with their fists, but they're okay.
And then I'm sorry if you guys can hear me typing. Normally I like mute my typing, but like I'm not right now. Okay, and then we have
fighting styles.
Slings and another fighting style of my choice, which I presume is somewhere.
It is. So and we'll go back to that in character creation, but you want to get slings written down. Bottom right corner of the front page.
I found it.
Yep.
And halfling luck. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d12. You may substitute that die for an attack roll. Okay, cool.
So what I would do is simply copy and paste that whole thing, including halfling luck, onto the passive abilities chunk of your. Yep.
Okay.
And then lastly, little guy.
Oh, I'm a small creature and my carrying capacity is lowered by -4 standard items. So wait, I have a question.
Yep.
If it's lowered by -4, does that mean I'm actually really strong because it's a double negative?
No. That's actually just to help people who read fast.
I know. I shouldn't be a smartass about it. Okay. And that's passive abilities.
You could actually, you could put it right there.
Okay. All right, cool. And then we have
we've got when you need to roll for old age. So if you're under 60, you're good.
So this is something where the 12 to 1 time span here works out to mean something, because the characters in my game don't usually die of old age, but when you're going through 12 years in a year, you actually may have that happen. So that's an interesting side effect. All right. So
you don't have to write that down unless you're over 60.
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
Otherwise, just write down whatever age your character is on the sheet.
All right.
And then obviously your sex.
I don't know what the ages.
Back.
Back.
Yep.
Second page. Okay. Age and sex. Let's do 25F. There we go.
Perfect. So then we have right there example first names and halfling clans.
Ooh.
So if you want to know, how they name themselves in the game world.
Yeah. I see flowers.
Yeah.
We'll go with Poppy.
Sure.
That's a cute one.
And then you can either make up your own minor clan, or there you've got 5 or 6 examples.
Poppy oakweed.
Nice.
Yep. Poppy oakweed. That's us. All right. And I think that's pretty much all we need here, right?
Yeah.
This is capstone. That's later. So, okay. So we go back to character creation.
You got it.
Calculate your hit points. 18 plus my fitness. So we have 19 right now.
Got it.
Where do my hit points go? Oh, here we go. I found it. 19.
Yep.
And then choose 2 careers. Your character gains all of the starting abilities listed for both careers. Write these abilities on your character sheet. Careers, that's in chapter 4. We have acolytes, we have archer. Okay, so we got a lot of options here. Assassin, blade master. Ultra American says he hears smoking oakweed is bad for me, but you have a dirty mind.
Smoking in general is bad for you.
Yes, smoking anything is bad for you. We're gonna say Poppy is we're gonna say she's a huntsman. We're gonna pick huntsman, and we have 2 careers here that we have to pick, right?
You do.
Okay, so we're gonna say huntsman and mercenary. I think those are a fun combination. Knowing nothing about either in this game, we're gonna go. Okay,
so you basically would go to one of the 2, and Yeah, you can do that, of course, first. You go to one of the two. Look at your starting skills up there at the top.
Okay.
So you get combat, survival, and one of your choice. Jump back to your character sheet.
Yep.
And you get a +2 in as the skill modifier for each of the skills you're trained in.
Okay. Well, right now, okay, so it's a combat, survival, and one of my choice that I get +2 in, correct?
Correct.
Do I put that in the bonus, or do I put that in the skill column? Okay.
You get bonuses from things like
so
certain tools or magic items.
Survival, and we're gonna say I am a supernatural hunter. So we're gonna do that.
If you're thinking knowledge, you'll want faith.
No, poppy oakweed ghost hunter.
I meant if you want the knowledge aspect, you'll want faith. Supernatural is the casting skill for.
I understand. Okay. Yep. All right. So we're still poppy oakweed ghost hunter. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So, and then you would copy these 3 starting abilities. So Legionnaire is passive. Okay. So if you read it, you get engineering as a bonus skill. So there's another +2 skill.
All right. Oh, cool. So I probably don't. Do I need to copy that still? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably should. Yeah.
Just put the 2 there, and then jump back here. Okay. You just need the second part of Legionnaire copied.
Okay.
You share your shield bonus with adjacent.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll probably just copy all of these. No, that's a maneuver. Those 2 are maneuvers, so they go somewhere else. All right. So we have passive abilities.
Yep.
Maneuvers. We have dead shot and lunge.
Yep.
And
you just put those in the
maneuvers. All right. Dead shot and lunge. All right. Let's space these out a little better. Okay.
Perfect. And then you go do the same thing with that first career.
All right. And then for Huntsman, we have athletics, combat, and another skill of my choice. All right. So we have athletics.
Yep.
We get a +2 here. Poppy oakweed ghost hunter.
And if you have a duplicate, like you've got combat twice,
yeah, I do.
You get a new one of your choice.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go with investigate.
Yep.
And we have another one of my choice here. So we're gonna take supernatural just because, you know,
certainly.
we're going full on ghost hunter.
Absolutely. Right. And then looks like you have a bonus skill with this career as well.
Okay. Survival is a bonus skill, which I already have.
So same thing.
Stealth.
Yeah, so that's probably a good idea.
Ghosts.
If you're going to be hunting ghosts,
also, we're halfling. Like halflings are nothing if not stealthy.
That's true.
And we have so double your survival and skill checks made to track other creatures and live off the land. And we have battle hardened as well. So let's go ahead and copy
those
these
2 are passive
into my passives. All right. And then
certain characters will get more actions, certain will get more maneuvers, some will get more passive. Okay. And you can basically modify this character sheet spacing wise to have it fit on the page.
Yeah. All right.
But Glimmer Oil is a maneuver.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put that in our maneuvers, and it's probably not going to be, it's kind of formatted. That's nice. We'll fix the formatting just a bit. There we go.
Yep.
And then we have.
And then you're on to the next step in character creation.
Okay. Easy.
So if you hop back over there.
Go back here. We have our careers, our skills. Each career grants you skill training in 2 or 3 specific skills and 1 skill of your choice.
Yep, we just did that. Yep, it's explaining what we just did. Now choose your additional. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We have additional fighting styles and languages.
Yep. Now those are listed on this page for you. If you just look up at the top there, fighting styles and languages are both on.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. So we're gonna take knives and wait, how many do I get?
So you get 2 plus your combat skill.
Oh, okay. 2 plus my combat skills. So we're gonna take knives and crossbows.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fighting styles.
Yeah, that was right here. Slings, knives, crossbows.
Yep. And you get one more.
Very cool. Oh, I get one more?
2 plus your skill, the number at the
Oh,
end of the
yeah,
skill.
yeah. We'll take staves.
Cool.
All right. And then we have languages. We're also going to take Elven because, you know, why not?
Want to talk with those pointy-eared people.
Yeah. All right. So we have finding styles and languages, starting equipment. You may choose the starting equipment from either of your careers, add it to your career sheet. Okay, so that's in my careers. And then we calculate carrying capacity and pick a feature. Okay.
Yep. So go to your 2 careers and pick between their starting equipment. You get one or the other.
All right. So we had what? Huntsman and mercenary. So let's do this. I do like the combining a class thing. That
thank you.
That reminds me of certain like video games I've played before, like Titan Quest, which is one of my favorites. But
I enjoyed something similar in Heroes of Might and Magic when you got to high enough
level.
Yeah.
You got your
to high enough level, you got to get these special classes that only existed because of the combination of skills.
And so
the starting equipment's in that box.
Oh, starting equipment, it's in the box. I don't know why I overlooked the box. All right. And then we have +6 carrying capacity too. So we're just going to put our starting equipment somewhere. Equipment.
There you go. Other gear, you see it?
No, I'm blind.
Right
other gear. Okay.
And now you don't have to right now, but normally you'd take the weapons and put them in the separate weapon spots on your sheet, and the armor and put it in its separate weapon, separate spot, and all that.
All right. And then.
And so no, you don't have any of that.
No, don't have
those capstones are if you gain levels, but you're picking between the huntsman and the mercenaries, so you might want to glance. But if you like the huntsman, you're good.
That's fine. I like the huntsman.
And so you would then check your armor to see, make sure you got that information plugged in.
Okay.
And your carrying capacity. So your carrying capacity, we can quick do. The stuff you picked weighed a total of 12.
Yes.
Your base carrying capacity is 8 minus 4 because you're a halfling, so 4. Plus your fitness, 5. Plus the bonus 6 from the equipment. So you have 11 carrying capacity. You need to drop it.
Oh no. I never play halflings.
Or do what most of the halflings do and convince all the big people to carry things for you.
I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to do. Never play halflings, guys.
You're at 12 out of 11.
Yeah.
Now,
I'll like be very, very nice to the DM.
No, the other players, get them to help.
Yeah,
they will usually. And then if you click on Chapter 7 equipment, you will see right there your listed armor. So if you look at your character sheet, whatever the name of your armor is,
it looks like we have mercenary leathers. Is that what we're looking? Oh, that's chain shirt. Yeah, that's my. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, chain shirt.
So we have.
And so this gives you your defense value, as well as what you have protection from that goes in the front of your character sheet.
So okay. So 8, and then we have protection from piercing and slashing. That's nice.
And that means you take half damage from piercing and slashing attacks.
Oh, that's very nice. I actually like that armor system. Cool.
Thanks. And then you have only one thing left to do other than plugging in like your like weapons and stuff, which is you have a starting feature to select.
All right. And
I already know
what?
I already know what you're going to pick.
I like animals.
Okay.
Wait, what did you think I was going to pick?
Vampire hunter, specifically because the ghost hunter thing.
No, I want a dog.
Yeah, fair enough. Beastmaster's good.
Yeah.
You can start out with a pet, and if you like that, and you're playing this game, look at Swarmlord in the same section.
Down here. Okay.
Yes, you just went past it.
Oh, I went past it. Okay. Beastmaster now allows you to gain a pet beast with 24 maximum hit points. In addition, you can speak with beasts as though you shared a language. Ooh.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Look, if you tell me I can get a dog in a game, like,
You
you know
can.
what I'm going to do. And some people hate that. Some people think like you shouldn't have pets in RPGs. That's silly. But like, I want a dog. Like,
Yeah. We built a whole career focused around like having and controlling pets, and we realized it was better as a feature because
Mhm.
it gave you more cool options. Like if you
Yeah.
wanted to play the equivalent of a D&D sorcerer with one of our wizards with a familiar, you could do a very similar thing and use that feature. Whereas if you wanted to play like a ranger or a druid type character, again, the feature it seemed to work better. Uh, but yeah, it's very quick. Your character, once you put that on the sheet, is done. The stat block for the pet in question, let's assume you want a dog, just for the sake of argument, or I'm going to quick jump over there. There are also wolves, so you can get a non-dog as well. But if you wanted a guard dog, go to page 106, and the
So
stat block is right there.
yeah, very cool. I normally say dog to mean any pet at all. I just lump them
Yeah.
under the collective term of dog.
Well, you can get like hawks and ravens and eardo cats, which are cats with like lightning claws, all kinds of different ones.
All right. Well,
But
Grack
look how quick that
RPG.
was.
Grack RPG, that was for you, and we now know that Harmony Ginger's bribery price is $5. I'm sure that was exhilarating to watch. No, I mean, like, for people
Harmony,
who are
you did that in
into
17 minutes.
Did I really? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's not bad. That's not bad. Oh, don't forget to buy a whetstone. Do I need a whetstone for my
He is correct. Buying a whetstone is a good idea.
Yeah, no, my price is $5. It's been revealed for
Build a character.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
you're gonna get flooded with work.
Uh,
You'll have all the fifth edition players will be like, here, make my character for me.
All right. And we're gonna probably wrap this up here soon. Is there anything like you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about?
Briefly, yes, but one of my players had a question for you. I see in the chat there. He wants to know if you'd like to join the server and play with us.
I'm already doing a lot of stuff, so.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you join for a one shot sometime in the next 6 months? No pressure, but I am curious what you think of it. I've gotten the chance to game with a bunch of people. Some of whom have bought the game, some haven't. Victor Gorbachev, for example, actually helped playtest Horde Wars. The same is true. Who I know you know him. John did the artwork for it. Basic Expert.
Did he? Yeah.
He did. He did both of our covers and some of the interior as well.
Yeah.
And so I think there are some things you probably would enjoy. But if you're busy now, I certainly am. Any time in the next 6 months. Try a game. I think you'd have fun.
All right.
And it definitely would be a relief, I bet, if you're a bit of a forever DM.
I'm not a forever DM though. I've trained my players to run my game for me now. Easy.
That's fair.
All right. Send me an invite to it.
I will.
I will join.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if I can commit to being in anything but a one shot because I just don't have a whole lot of time right now. But I very much appreciate the invite.
Certainly, a one shot would be completely fine. Hey, look, there you go. You've got someone who wants to play with you specifically.
Your price is $5, right? Play a halfling with me. Join my merchant league. Thank you so much, couple of adventures. I appreciate the support.
Joined the server last week.
I like halflings. Yeah, I like halflings. But so I actually normally play humans. That's like 90% of the characters I play are human. But I thought we'd be adventurous today since I just watched Lord of the Rings again. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap
the other item. How's it going with the birds?
Oh.
I think eager ears want an update.
Okay. Well, I stepped outside today, and so I have a little like tree that's like that doesn't really have any branches because the HOA chopped all the branches off, but it's like
Mhm.
really it's like my size, and it's next to my house. Maybe it's a foot taller than me or something. It's like right next to my house, like right outside my window next to my door. I walked outside and there were like two crows on this tree, like maybe 3 feet from me, and they were staring like they were waiting for me. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do with you. What do you want? And so I like threw peanuts at the bottom of the tree and like backed up. And then they came down and they started eating the peanuts, but they got between me and my door. And I don't really have another way into my house easily without
Mhm.
like a key. So I can't like go around. So I was like standing out there, like too afraid to go into my house because I didn't want to like
No.
chase off the birds. And I was like, I wish I had my phone with me, but I left my phone inside. So I can't like take a picture of this. But they're standing there like between me and my door. And I didn't really know what to do. So I spent like 20 minutes outside today just staring at my house trying to figure it out until they ate all the peanuts and left. So I think we're friends now is what I'm trying to say.
So you're not getting attacked for the last day or two.
No, it was
Good.
okay. So for those who don't know, I was attacked by crows this week because like I have no idea why. I was bringing in my trash bin and like a crow just swoops down from behind and like grabs at my hair. And I'm like, what is going on? Like crows don't do this. And I was like freaked out. He like cut my scalp. I was freaked out because I thought like I was like, man, am I gonna get like an infection? What's going on here? So anyway, I didn't know what to do. So I like posted about it on Twitter because like, I mean, I got attacked by a crow, got to milk it for a little bit of karma, right? Gotta get internet points. Thank you, Jonathan Frost, for the $2. I got blackmailed by a couple of crow thugs. Yeah, it really works on me too. It's like really easy to blackmail me.
The
If you're a
peanut
crow.
shit
It's
down.
like, just yeah, no. So I didn't know what to do. And so I'm like, okay, that was very weird. But anyway, so I'm going out later to like I forget what I was going out to do. I think I was going to the grocery store. And on my way out, the same I don't know if it's the same or if it's like a different crow just swoops down behind me and grabs my hair again. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, do is this a thing? Why? Um so apparently I did something to anger the crows. I don't know if it's that my house is too close to their nest because they're in like a tall tree outside my house. Not the same tree that's right next to my door, but a different one. So I don't know if like that's what I did. Or like I know the other day I was like on the phone with my dad walking out in a grove and like all these crows kind of landed around me and they just sort of stood there calling at me and I didn't know what to do, so I like waved at him, I guess. I don't know if it was like a threatening gesture or what I was supposed to do there. But I did something that like really pissed them off because they were like after me. But the internet was like everybody was split. Did my cat do something to the crows while I was nearby? Actually, this is another possibility because one of my cats I do let one of my cats outside, but she never like bothers anything. But one of my other cats like got outside and she chased a squirrel up a tree recently, but I like took her away. She didn't do anything to a crow. So I don't know if they got upset at her. But
Mhm.
anyway, so half the internet was like, you should feed the crows and befriend them. And the other half was like, you should just shoot it. Because so and like I shooting crows here is illegal, so I can't like do that. And also I live really close to a road and I live in a relatively populated area. I'm not like in the middle of nowhere, unfortunately. So I can't like shoot a crow. But I ended up trying to befriend them and it may have worked too well too fast because like they're like waiting outside my house and like not letting me in my house. They're getting between me and my door.
You'll have to move the
Um
snack area to the back.
yeah, I think so. But yeah, it was a very weird experience. I've never
Yeah.
been attacked by crows before. I was like freaking out. I remember I after getting attacked the second time, I like came back in and I called my dad and I was like, what do I do? This thing's attacking me. I'm afraid to leave the house because this thing's gonna swoop down and attack me. And he's like, so he told me to call animal control. So I called animal control and I was on hold with them for like 40 minutes before I talked to somebody. And I was like, what do I do? And they were like, well, you can't shoot it. And I'm like, okay, but what can I do? And they're like, don't shoot it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, what can I do about this? And they're like, well, we can't come get it because it's a crow and there are a lot of them. And I'm like, okay, but what can I do? And then like we lost connection, which I don't know what it means.
They hung up on you probably.
So that was my experience with animal control. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm making friends. That's the crow story. You guys waited through this whole stream for the crow story. I know.
Anyway. I certainly have been eager to get an update. But and for the record, I recommended tennis racket. It's quieter than a gun.
I don't want to hurt an animal.
You could just use it as a shield if you had to.
Yeah, all right. That's fair. I do have a tennis racket upstairs. I that's like my favorite sport actually is tennis. I used to play a lot of it. But yeah, I don't really know if I have any more updates than that, except I feel threatened by every call now.
Oh, you gave them a key. You forgot that detail.
Oh yeah, I did. I gave them a key. I gave them an old key to my house so they can't like get in because like I've changed the locks since then. So like I'm not worried about giving crows an old key to my house. I'm worried they don't like figure that out, but I'm worried that they'll figure it out that it's an old key. But I mean, it should be fine, right?
Yeah.
Apparently they'll like leave me shiny things, so I'm excited about what shiny gifts I'm about to get. I'm hoping for a USB full of Bitcoin, but you know what?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would. Dude, that's a tweet. I need to save that. All right, but that's
thanks for having me on. It's been great getting to talk with you.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. If you are at DaveCon, please, say hi to me if you guys are at DaveCon next month. But anyway, I will see you guys next week. Farewell, friends.
Bye.